Have you ever found yourself waking up multiple times at night, feeling that uncomfortable pressure in your lower belly, wondering if something just isn't quite right down there? I've been there too, and I know how frustrating it can be. It's one of those private struggles many men face as they get older, especially after 60, but it's rarely talked about openly. I remember feeling like it was just part of aging, something I had to silently accept. But what if I told you that many of the problems we blame on age start with simple habits we don't even realize we're doing? You're not alone, and there's good news. There are easy, gentle ways to ease the strain on your prostate without drastic changes or expensive treatments. Small shifts in your nighttime routine can make a world of difference. In fact, by letting go of just a few common habits, you might find yourself sleeping more peacefully, waking up feeling lighter, and regaining control you thought was lost. Tonight, I want to share with you 5 nighttime habits that might be quietly harming your prostate health. And, more importantly, how to stop them. These tips aren't just theory. They come from years of listening and helping men just like you. You deserve to live better, to rest well, and to feel comfortable again. Which habit do you think could be holding you back? Stick with me, and let's find out together. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. 1. Drinking too much water before bed. It's such a simple, well-meaning habit. You finish dinner, maybe watch your favorite TV show, and before you settle in for the night, you pour yourself a tall glass of water. Maybe 2. After all, every health magazine, every doctor on television, every well-meaning neighbor seems to say it. Stay hydrated, especially as you get older. And so, you drink, feeling a small sense of accomplishment, doing something good for your body, taking care of yourself, checking off another healthy box. But here's the thing no one tells you. That innocent glass of water, if it comes too late in the evening, might quietly be doing more harm than good to your nights, and more specifically to your prostate. I know this because, like so many others, I used to do it myself. I thought I was helping my kidneys flush out toxins, and besides, drinking water never hurt anyone, right? At least, that's what I believed until the wake-ups started happening. First, once a night, then 2, then sometimes 3 or 4, each time dragging myself out of a warm bed, shuffling to the bathroom, eyes bleary, legs stiff, hoping I wouldn't bump into anything in the dark. There's a certain loneliness in those nighttime moments. Everyone else in the house is fast asleep, the world outside is silent, and you're left wondering why your body just won't cooperate anymore. Maybe you chalk it up to age. It's just what happens when you get older, you tell yourself, a little sadly, a little resigned. I remember those nights so clearly, standing at the bathroom sink with the tap running, looking at myself in the mirror, and asking, is this really how it's going to be now? It wasn't until I spoke to my doctor, a kindly man with salt and pepper hair and a habit of telling stories, that I realized there might be a simpler explanation. You're not the only one, he said with a smile. A lot of men your age are waking up at night because they drink too much water after dinner. Your bladder's working overtime, and your prostate, well, it's not as forgiving as it used to be. He explained how, as men get older, the prostate naturally gets a little bigger. It's not your fault, it's not something you did wrong, it's just a fact of life. But that enlargement means the tube that carries urine, the urethra, gets squeezed, making it harder for the bladder to fully empty. Add extra water late at night, and you've created a perfect storm. At first, I was skeptical. How could something so basic as water be the culprit? But as he laid it out, it started to make sense. Think of it like traffic at rush hour, he told me. The road's already narrow, the cars are backed up, and suddenly you flood the streets with even more cars. That's what you're doing to your bladder and prostate by drinking too much before bed. I went home that day, feeling both relieved and a bit foolish. I'd never thought about the timing of my water intake before, just the amount. That night, Instead of reaching for a glass at 9 or 10 o'clock, I started paying attention. I drank more during the day, after breakfast, a good glass with lunch, and a refill in the afternoon. But after dinner, I made it a point to sip, not gulp. Just a few small sips if my mouth felt dry, but nothing more. The first night, I woke up twice instead of 3 times. Not a miracle, but a start. By the end of the week, I was making it through the night with just 1 trip, sometimes none at all. The difference in my mornings was almost shocking. I felt more rested, less groggy, and there was a new lightness in my body, a subtle sense that things were finally flowing the way they should. It was such a small adjustment, but it brought back a little bit of freedom I thought I'd lost forever. This isn't just my story, either. I've spoken to dozens of men, neighbors, friends at the senior center, even strangers in waiting rooms, who all had the same experience. Take Walter, for example, an 82-year-old veteran with a laugh that could shake the windows. He used to swear by drinking 2 tall glasses of water before turning in, convinced it would keep his system clean. But he hadn't slept a full night in more than a decade. After a heart-to-heart, he agreed to try shifting his water intake earlier in the day. Within a week, Walter was a changed man, energetic in the mornings, joking about how he was making up for lost sleep. "Turns out it wasn't my age after all," he said with a wink. "Just bad timing." There's something so empowering in realizing you're not helpless, that you can take back a bit of control over your nights. And it's not about cutting out water altogether. Heavens, no. Hydration is still crucial, especially as you age. It keeps your skin healthy, your joints moving, and your digestion working. But when you drink is just as important as how much. Think of it as giving your body a gift. Water when it needs to be refreshed, and rest when it needs to recharge. For those of us who grew up in an era where you didn't question the rules, you just did what you were told, it can feel odd to change things now. But it's not about giving up something you enjoy. It's about adapting to the life you have now. Maybe it means drinking that extra glass with your afternoon crossword instead of during the late-night news. Maybe it means carrying a small water bottle and taking sips throughout the day, rather than playing catch-up in the evening. Of course, there will be nights when you're thirsty, a salty dinner, a warm summer evening, maybe you simply forgot earlier. In those cases, go easy on yourself. Take a small sip, just enough to wet your mouth, and remind yourself that you're doing this for your comfort, not because you have to follow a rule. Listen to your body. It's been carrying you for decades. It knows what it needs. It's also worth remembering that your prostate is working overtime, just like you did all those years at your job, raising kids, and building a life. Now's the time to give it a little support, not ask more of it than necessary. Every hour of uninterrupted sleep is a gift. Every morning you wake up without that heavy, bloated feeling is a victory. And if you ever doubt whether these small changes make a difference, think about this. Over time, the low-level pressure caused by too much fluid at night can lead to more than just lost sleep. It can cause irritation, low-grade inflammation, and even increase your risk of infection. More pressure means your bladder has to work harder, your prostate swells a bit more, and before you know it, those midnight bathroom visits become part of your routine. But it doesn't have to be that way. Permit yourself to try something new. For just 1 week, experiment with moving your water window earlier. Drink more in the morning and afternoon, and slow down after dinner. Watch how your nights change, how your mornings feel. If you live with someone, ask them if they notice the difference too. Sometimes, it's your partner who first remarks on your improved mood or increased energy. The truth is, you deserve restful sleep. You deserve mornings where you wake up refreshed, ready to enjoy the day, not stumbling to the kitchen half awake. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now is the time to care for yourself, in small but meaningful ways. Let go of that old belief that nothing can change. Let go of the habit of late-night drinking. It's a gentle step, but it can bring powerful results. If you're willing, share your own experiences below. What's your nighttime routine like? Have you tried shifting your water intake before? I'd love to hear what works for you, what challenges you faced, and what small victories you've celebrated along the way. Because in the end, this isn't just about water or prostates or even sleep. It's about reclaiming a bit of joy and control in a world that sometimes feels determined to take it away. You are not alone in this journey. And tonight, as you set your glass aside a little earlier, know that you're taking one small, compassionate step toward a better, brighter morning. You truly deserve it. 2. Eating salty or processed foods at night. There's a certain comfort to a warm, salty meal at the end of a long day. Maybe it's a bowl of canned soup, a microwave dinner you pop in while the evening news plays, or even a plate of deli meats and cheese with some crackers. After all, you've earned the right to treat yourself, haven't you? It's quick, it's easy, it fills you up, and for many of us living alone or with just one other person, it feels practical. Who wants to dirty a bunch of pots and pans when you're tired, or cook a big meal when there's just two of you? For years, I fell into this habit myself. A salty snack here, a frozen entree there, sometimes a little bag of chips or pretzels to satisfy the midnight munchies. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. It's a routine I see in so many friends and neighbors at our age. Some of us even joke about our TV dinners, as if it's a badge of honor for making it through another day and not having to fuss in the kitchen. But I never realized what those meals, so small, so convenient, were doing inside my body, especially when it came to my nights. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It started gradually. I'd wake up in the dark, feeling that pressure in my lower belly. My legs were heavy, my mouth dry. I'd shuffle to the bathroom, sometimes twice, sometimes 4 times in a single night, each trip a little harder than the last. At first, I thought it was the water, or maybe just age catching up with me. But the more it happened, the more I started to notice a pattern. These rough nights usually followed the evenings when I'd had something salty, something from a box or a can. It's a quiet truth, but a powerful one. The food you eat at night doesn't just affect your stomach, it changes the way your entire body rests and recovers. I once heard a doctor say, "Salt may be small, but its effects are mighty." He was right. Salty foods, especially those processed and packaged for convenience, make your body hold on to water. It sounds harmless, but what it means is your kidneys and bladder have to work overtime while you sleep. The fluid you retain during the day tries to escape at night, forcing you out of bed and into the bathroom, no matter how tired you are. For men with aging prostates, the story is even tougher. The extra salt means more fluid swelling up around your bladder and prostate, which are already struggling to keep up with the changes of age. The result? More tension, more swelling, more of that urgent, uncomfortable need to go, sometimes without much warning. And after a few nights of this, you start to feel it everywhere. Your joints ache, your eyes are puffy, your head is foggy in the morning. It's easy to blame yourself, or worse, just accept it as getting old. But it doesn't have to be this way. Let me tell you about my friend Glenn, a tall, soft-spoken man with a dry sense of humor. Glenn and I met at a community breakfast, and we hit it off talking about grandkids, fishing, and, as it turns out, our shared battle with nighttime bathroom trips. He told me how he tried everything, cutting out late-night drinks, even sleeping sitting up in a recliner, but nothing worked. Then, one morning after another sleepless night, Glenn took a look at his dinner routine. Canned chili, TV dinners, processed snack mixes, all washed down with a can of diet soda. It was food for convenience, not for comfort. He decided to make a small change. Instead of heating a frozen entree, Glenn started making simple meals with fresh vegetables, grilled chicken or fish, and a little brown rice. If he wanted something warm, he'd make a quick vegetable soup with low-sodium broth. The results shocked him. Within 3 days, he said, it was like someone had turned off a faucet in my bladder. He woke up fewer times each night, felt less bloated in the morning, and even noticed his blood pressure was a bit lower at his next doctor's visit. I know what you might be thinking. That's great for Glenn, but my schedule is busy, or my budget's tight, or I just don't have the energy to cook fresh meals every night. I get it. I do. The last thing anyone wants at the end of a long day is more work. But eating well at night doesn't have to be a chore. It can be as simple as steaming some frozen vegetables. They're just as nutritious as fresh, grilling a piece of chicken, or making a bowl of oatmeal with some fruit. Keep it gentle, keep it light, and let your body relax into the night instead of working to process all that salt. You might be surprised by how quickly your nights change. When you swap out that sodium-packed soup for a homemade meal or even just cut back on the number of processed snacks, your body thanks you. The swelling goes down, your sleep gets deeper, and that familiar ache in your lower belly fades. And there's something about waking up after a restful night without endless interruptions that makes everything feel a little brighter. The sun seems warmer, your coffee tastes better, and you even find yourself humming a tune you thought you'd forgotten. There's no shame in having chosen convenience before. Life can be busy and tiring, and sometimes you just need something easy. But the truth is, our bodies have always been honest with us, even if we didn't want to listen. Those late-night bathroom trips, the swelling, the discomfort, they were just signs asking us to take a closer look at what we're feeding ourselves. It's never too late to listen, never too late to change. And if you're worried about flavor, don't be. Fresh foods can be delicious, even if you don't use much salt. Try adding a squeeze of lemon, a sprinkle of pepper, or a handful of fresh herbs to your meals. Experiment with roasted veggies, a little olive oil, or a homemade vinaigrette. Ask a friend or family member for their favorite easy meal recipes. Sometimes just talking about food brings back old memories and new inspiration. If you live alone, maybe you can find a neighbor or two to share meals with once in a while. Potluck dinners, soup swaps, or just chatting over a shared salad can make eating well feel less like a chore and more like a celebration of life's small pleasures. There's real joy in nourishing your body and spirit, even in the simplest ways. I know this isn't the most glamorous advice, but it comes from the heart, and from the honest experience of many who've walked this path before you. We all want to enjoy our evenings, to savor the foods we love, to treat ourselves after a long day. But with just a little extra care, a little more intention, you can give your body what it needs without giving up comfort or pleasure. So tonight, as you open your pantry or fridge, take a moment to notice what's inside. Ask yourself if your dinner will help you rest easy, or if it's a leftover habit that might be stealing your sleep. Choose something gentle, something nourishing, and see how you feel tomorrow. And if you ever doubt whether small changes matter, just remember Glenn, me, and the many others who've learned that a lighter meal can lead to a lighter, happier morning. You deserve peaceful nights and bright mornings. You deserve to wake up refreshed, not worn down by the foods you ate the night before. It's never too late to start caring for yourself in new ways, to show your body a little kindness. After all these years, you've earned it. And your prostate, and your whole self, will thank you for every gentle choice you make. 3. Holding in urine during the night. Some habits are born out of simple laziness, others out of stubbornness, but a surprising number are shaped by comfort, the sheer pleasure of staying put, warm and snug, instead of braving the cold floor and the bathroom down the hall in the middle of the night. Maybe you know this feeling. You wake up in the dark, a faint pressure nagging in your belly, and you think, I'll just turn over and wait till morning. It's not that urgent. You pull the covers tighter, try to ignore that small but persistent signal from your body, and hope sleep will take you back. I get it. I do. For years, I thought of myself as a champion sleeper, proud of how I could doze off at a moment's notice and sleep straight through till sunrise. Unless, of course, that little urge woke me at 2 a.m. I'd fight it, bargaining with myself, you're not a kid anymore. You can wait. Sometimes I even felt triumphant if I made it till morning without getting up. But as the years went by, that triumph started to come at a cost. Mornings began with a strange, bloated tightness in my lower belly, a sense that my bladder had turned into a lead weight overnight. Sometimes, even after finally making it to the bathroom, it was hard to empty. I'd start my day not with a fresh feeling, but with a lingering sense of discomfort. I never thought much of it. When I finally complained about it to my doctor, I half expected him to congratulate me for holding it all night. Wasn't that a sign of good self-control? Instead, he shook his head and chuckled. Your body's trying to tell you something. Ignoring the urge to go at night is like ignoring a ringing phone. It just keeps calling back, louder and more insistent each time. He explained how, as we get older, our bladders and prostates change. The bladder, once elastic and forgiving, gets stiffer, a little less willing to stretch. The prostate, if you're a man, often grows a bit larger, making the plumbing a bit trickier. When you hold in urine during the night, the bladder keeps stretching, putting more pressure on those sensitive walls. It doesn't just go away. The longer you wait, the more irritable your bladder becomes, and the more strain you put on your prostate and the entire lower urinary tract. At first, I resisted this idea. But getting up at night is such a hassle, I protested. I'm tired, my feet are cold, and I always lose my spot in bed. My doctor just smiled. Trust me, it's better to go than to hold. You'll sleep better after, and so will your bladder. It wasn't until I heard the story of Leonard, an old friend from my church group, that I started to pay attention. Leonard was a tall, gentle fellow with a fondness for crossword puzzles and a stubborn streak that could move mountains. He prided himself on his iron will, as he called it. Every night, no matter how many times he woke up with the urge, he'd force himself to wait until morning. My bed is too comfortable to leave, he'd say with a wink. But over time, he started noticing a tightness in his lower belly, a strange heaviness that never quite left, and sometimes, after waiting all night, he'd still feel as though something was left behind even after going to the bathroom. After a gentle nudge from his wife, Leonard finally agreed to try something different. Instead of ignoring the urge, he'd get up and go when he needed to. At first, it was just once a night. Then, on some nights, it was twice. He grumbled about cold floors and creaky joints, but within a week, something remarkable happened. He started feeling lighter in the morning, the heaviness faded, and he could empty his bladder with more ease than he'd had in years. His wife swears he even started humming over breakfast, a sign of relief she hadn't seen in ages. It turns out our bodies have signals for a reason. The urge to urinate isn't just a pesky nuisance. It's a finely tuned system meant to keep us healthy. When we hold it in for hours, the bladder walls become stretched and thin, making them more susceptible to irritation and infection. In men, the extra pressure can make the prostate swell, further narrowing the passage and making it harder to go when you finally do get up. The residual urine left behind, because a full, tired bladder can't always empty completely, becomes the perfect breeding ground for bacteria, leading to those dreaded urinary tract infections or just plain discomfort. It's a bit ironic, isn't it? The very thing we do for comfort, staying in bed, can end up making us feel worse in the long run. But the fix is so much gentler than you might imagine. You don't need expensive gadgets, no magic pills, just a willingness to listen to your body. Get up when you feel the urge, even if it's just once a night. Keep a cozy robe or slippers by your bed if you're worried about the cold. Maybe even plug in a nightlight along the hallway, so you don't have to fumble in the dark. Some nights, you may still feel too tired or try to negotiate with your body. That's okay. Old habits take time to change. But the more you honor those little signals, the more your body will thank you. Your mornings will feel lighter, the pressure in your belly will fade, and that sense of ease, the freedom to move and breathe without tightness, will return. If you want to make things even easier, try to avoid those other culprits we've already talked about. Don't flood your bladder with too much water late in the evening. Skip the salty, processed snacks, and if you can, build a gentle bedtime routine that encourages relaxation instead of tension. Every small step adds up. You may find, as I did, that there's a certain peace in accepting your body's needs. No more battles in the middle of the night. No more silent negotiations with a stubborn bladder. Instead, you simply listen, respond, and move on. And if you ever need a little extra motivation, just think of Leonard, humming over his toast, lighter in spirit and body, because he let go of an old habit and gained something better in return. I'll admit, I still grumble some nights when I have to get up, especially if the cat beats me to the bathroom. But I remind myself that this small act of self-care, this willingness to respond to my body's needs, is a gift. It means I'm still paying attention, still caring for myself, still adapting to life's changes with a little grace and a bit of humor. So the next time you feel that familiar urge in the middle of the night, don't fight it. Get up, stretch, maybe glance out the window at the quiet world, and then head back to bed knowing you've done something good for yourself. Your prostate, your bladder, and your future mornings will thank you. And you'll be that much closer to the restful, comfortable nights you truly deserve. 4. Sleeping on your stomach. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. For as long as I can remember, I was a stomach sleeper. Even as a boy, I loved to sprawl across my bed, arms folded beneath my pillow, cheek pressed against cool cotton. Something was soothing about it, a feeling of safety and comfort that seemed to follow me right into adulthood. Old habits, as they say, die hard. Through marriage, raising kids, and even after the house grew quiet again, I kept that habit, tucking myself in, belly down, every night. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. Maybe, like me, you never thought twice about the way you slept. It's such a personal thing, after all. Who would imagine that something as innocent as your favorite sleeping position could cause any trouble? Even now, at this age, there's a certain comfort in routine. And yet, sometimes, the routines we hold on to are the very ones that quietly work against us. It wasn't until I started noticing the tension in my lower belly each morning that I began to wonder. At first, it was easy to blame it on age. After all, who doesn't wake up a little stiff after 65? But this was different. It was a sort of pressure, a vague heaviness low in my abdomen, especially bad after a restless night. The bathroom visits came more frequently, the urge growing more urgent, the relief never quite complete. I'd shuffle to the kitchen, pour my coffee, and try to ignore the feeling, chalking it up to just getting older. But life has a way of making you pay attention to the small things, doesn't it? It was during one of those early mornings, after my third trip to the bathroom before sunrise, that my daughter, a nurse with a sharp eye for these things, asked me, "Dad, have you tried changing how you sleep?" I laughed at first. How could that possibly matter? But she persisted, explaining that sleeping on your stomach puts subtle, continuous pressure on your pelvic region, right where your bladder and prostate are already working overtime. The more she described it, the more it made sense. Night after night, hour after hour, my body weight was pressing down on the most sensitive part of my lower body. Suddenly, my comfort didn't feel so comfortable anymore. The image of my prostate, a small, walnut-sized gland already prone to swelling with age, being squeezed night after night, made me pause. No wonder things felt swollen and heavy by morning. I thought back to all the advice I'd heard about posture, about circulation, about not sitting too long in one position. Why wouldn't sleep positions matter, too? But old habits are stubborn things. The first night I tried to change, I found myself tossing and turning, longing to roll onto my stomach as soon as I drifted off. I even woke up, only to find myself right back in my usual pose, arms tucked, legs curled, face down. Still, I was determined to give it a fair shot. I started small, propping a pillow behind my back, placing a soft wedge between my knees, and gently coaxing myself onto my side. It felt awkward at first, like sleeping in someone else's bed. But little by little, my body started to adapt. I began to notice something remarkable. Mornings grew easier. That pressure in my lower belly wasn't as sharp. My trips to the bathroom became less frequent, and when I did go, I could empty my bladder without that lingering sense of not quite done. My sleep grew deeper, more restful. I felt, for the first time in years, truly refreshed when I opened my eyes. The science behind it is simple but powerful. When you sleep on your stomach, your body weight shifts forward, pressing directly on your lower abdomen. This compresses the bladder, the pelvic floor, and yes, the prostate. Blood flow is restricted, nerves are put under pressure, and the natural drainage that's supposed to happen while you sleep is blocked. It's like putting a heavy book on a garden hose. The water struggles to flow, and everything downstream suffers. If your prostate is already enlarged, as it so often is after 60, the effect is even greater. Swelling increases, irritation grows, and you wake up feeling sore, tense, and perpetually in need of the bathroom. I heard a similar story from my friend Harold, who'd spent years as a stomach sleeper. He always thought his morning aches were from an old back injury. But when he switched to sleeping on his side, with a pillow hugged close for comfort, his discomfort all but disappeared. "I didn't realize how much tension I was holding down there," he told me one morning over coffee, "until I finally let it go." It's not about forcing yourself into an uncomfortable position. No one wants to be told how to sleep. But sometimes, experimenting with a new sleep habit can make a world of difference, especially if you find a method that's cozy and supportive. Side sleeping, especially on your left side, reduces pressure on your internal organs, improves blood flow, and gives your bladder and prostate the space they desperately need to recover overnight. If you find it difficult at first, try using a body pillow or a folded blanket behind your back to prevent rolling over. Some men find that slightly elevating their legs, or placing a wedge pillow under their knees, eases the transition and keeps their hips and pelvis aligned. And don't forget, the way you sleep isn't set in stone. With a little patience, you might discover a new favorite position, one that rewards you with deeper rest and a lighter morning. The changes don't always happen overnight, but they do come. And when you start waking up feeling less tense, less swollen, and more in control, you'll know the effort was worth it. There's something quietly empowering about making this shift. You're not just going along with what's always been. You're choosing to care for your body in a way that matters. After all, you've spent a lifetime working, caring for others, weathering storms, and savoring joys. This small act, choosing how you rest, becomes a gentle declaration: I'm still in charge of my comfort, and I still deserve to feel good. If you live with a partner, let them know what you're trying. Maybe they'll want to join you in the experiment. You might laugh together at the odd positions you find yourselves in, or even discover that side-by-side sleeping brings you closer, literally and figuratively. And if you live alone, treat yourself to fresh linens, a soft new pillow, or a cozy throw blanket as a little reward for your efforts. It's easy to underestimate the power of sleep. We talk so much about diet, exercise, and medication, but the way we rest is just as vital, especially as we age. Every night is a new chance to reset, to heal, to wake up ready for the world again. By letting go of the old habit of stomach sleeping, you give your prostate and your whole body the chance to recover and thrive. So tonight, as you tuck yourself in, pause for a moment. Ask yourself if your old routine is serving you, or if it's time for a gentle change. Try turning onto your side, arrange your pillows just so, and see how your body feels. Maybe it'll be awkward, maybe you'll miss the old familiar pressure. But give it a little time. The comfort you discover may surprise you. You've spent a lifetime earning the right to rest well. Let's not let an old habit steal away your peace. Give yourself, and your prostate, the break it deserves. In the quiet darkness, in the soft comfort of your bed, you just might find the freedom and relief you've been searching for. And when morning comes, you'll rise not just rested, but renewed. 5. Ignoring the urge to urinate before going to bed. After dinner, when the house is finally quiet and the day's noise fades to a gentle hush, There's a small window of peace that so many of us cherish. Maybe you settle into your favorite recliner, remote in hand, savoring a last bit of news or the laughter of a late-night sitcom. Maybe you chat with a loved one, or thumb through a novel, or just listen to the familiar tick of the clock on the wall. The chores are finished, the doors are locked, and you're ready to call it a night. It's in these gentle moments, right before bed, that a tiny, almost ignorable urge will tap on your shoulder. Maybe you should use the bathroom before turning in, your body whispers. But you weigh the comfort of your chair against the bother of shuffling down the hallway. Maybe you don't feel the urge all that strongly. Maybe you're already cozy under your covers and tell yourself, it can wait till morning. So, you ignore it, just this once. But once turns into many times, and before long, it's a nightly routine, a habit that seems harmless, even logical, at first glance. I used to do it myself, night after night. There was always an excuse. I'd already brushed my teeth, I was too tired to get up, or I just didn't feel the need right then. But as the years went by, the results of this simple habit began to add up. Mornings became a struggle. I'd wake up groggy, my lower belly feeling bloated and tight. Some nights, the urge would wake me up just an hour or two after falling asleep, forcing me out of bed when I was at my most exhausted. I would trudge to the bathroom, half asleep, cursing the interruption and wishing for the bliss of uninterrupted rest. It was only after talking to my neighbor Peter, a soft-spoken man who liked to sit on his porch with a mug of tea, that I realized I wasn't the only one. He shared how he'd fallen into the same pattern. I never felt like I had to go badly enough before bed, so I didn't bother, he told me. But just like me, he'd wake up in the night, or worse, start his mornings with that heavy, uncomfortable feeling. Peter's wife, ever practical, suggested he try a new routine. Make it a point to visit the bathroom every night before bed, whether he felt the urge or not. It felt silly at first, Peter admitted. I'd stand there and think, do I need to do this? But I did it anyway, just to make her happy. Within a week, the changes were undeniable. He was waking up less, and his mornings felt lighter, freer. That old, nagging pressure was gone. It's a deceptively simple trick, but one with real science behind it. As we age, our bladder and prostate change. The bladder can't hold as much as it once did, and the prostate, always prone to swelling after 60, presses gently on the urethra. When you ignore the urge to urinate before sleep, you go to bed with a partially full bladder. That urine sits for hours, applying a slow but steady pressure on your bladder walls, and by extension, your prostate. The longer that urine stays, the more opportunity there is for bacteria to grow, for inflammation to develop, and for discomfort to build. It's not just about avoiding a midnight trip, though that alone is a blessing. It's about giving your body a chance to rest without distraction, without the silent stress of holding on to what should have been let go. Every night you skip that last trip, you're asking your bladder and prostate to work overtime, to bear a burden while you're supposed to be recharging. Over time, this habit can turn small, harmless urges into bigger problems. Slower flow, increased urgency, a greater risk for infection, and those dreaded early morning dashes to the bathroom that rob you of precious rest. Changing this habit doesn't require anything fancy. No expensive treatments, no complex regimens. Just a moment of kindness to yourself at the end of the day. Brush your teeth, wash your face, and visit the bathroom one final time, even if you don't feel the need. It's not about how much you go, but about sending a gentle message to your body. We're done for the day. It's time to rest. I remember how skeptical I felt at first. I'd stand in the bathroom, thinking, I just did this an hour ago. But soon, it became a ritual, a small gift to myself. Some nights, it's just a trickle. Other nights, a surprising amount. But the result is always the same. I sleep more deeply, and my mornings are lighter and brighter. The simple act of letting go, literally and figuratively, became a quiet form of self-care, one that made a bigger difference than I ever expected. There's also a certain dignity in tending to your own needs, no matter how small. After all these years, I've learned that being gentle with yourself is not weakness, but wisdom. You learn to listen to the signals your body gives you, even when they're easy to ignore. You realize that self-care isn't about grand gestures, but about small, thoughtful routines that add up over time. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. If you struggle to remember, make it a part of your bedtime ritual. Pair it with something you already do. Turn off the lights, lock the doors, and then head to the bathroom. If you share a home with someone, encourage them to join you, make it a light-hearted race to the bathroom, or just a gentle reminder to one another. Over time, it stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a kindness. Sometimes, even small changes can unlock unexpected freedom. No more waking up in the middle of the night, no more shuffling to the bathroom in the dark, no more beginning your day with that heavy, unshakable discomfort. Instead, you rise rested, ready, and free to savor the morning however you choose. That first cup of coffee tastes better, the sun seems warmer, and the world feels more inviting. It's easy to overlook habits like this, to assume they don't matter. But I've found, and so have many others, that these little choices are what shape the quality of our days and our nights. You deserve to rest well, to start each day with comfort and ease, not with regret for what you could have done differently. So tonight, as you get ready for bed, I invite you to pause for a moment. Ask yourself, did I give my body what it needed? If you haven't, take that last trip to the bathroom, even if you don't feel the urge. Trust that your future self will thank you in the morning. And as you settle into bed, know that you've given yourself the gift of rest, the kind you've earned, the kind you truly deserve. Remember, this is about more than just bladder or prostate health. It's about listening to your body, respecting its needs, and honoring the life you've built by taking care of yourself in every way you can. It's about living with intention and treating yourself with the gentleness you've so often given to others. You're never too old to start a new habit, never too set in your ways to find a better, kinder routine. Tonight, let go of that old pattern of ignoring the urge. Start anew. And in the quiet of your home, as you drift into sleep, may you find the peace and comfort that come from listening to yourself, one small act at a time. Thank you for staying with me through this journey of understanding the little habits that might be quietly affecting your prostate health and your nights. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when it seems like your body is working against you. But remember, change doesn't have to be big or scary. Sometimes, it's the smallest shifts. Drinking water a bit earlier, choosing lighter dinners, listening to your body signals, changing how you sleep, or simply honoring that last urge to visit the bathroom, that make all the difference. These aren't just tips. They're acts of kindness you give yourself, steps toward reclaiming comfort and peace in your daily life. You've spent a lifetime caring for others and facing challenges head-on. Now it's your turn to care for yourself with patience and gentle love. Imagine waking up refreshed, lighter, free from that nagging pressure, and ready to embrace the day. That future is within reach, not through miracles or complicated routines, but through simple, mindful changes. I'd love to hear from you. What habit resonates most with you? Which small step will you try tonight? Sharing your experience could inspire someone else who needs to hear it. Remember, you deserve to live well, to sleep deeply, and to enjoy every moment with the comfort and dignity you've earned. Take care, and I look forward to walking this path with you.